What's up guys, Americano back here with another video, and I just want you to know that the banks are using Bitcoin to steal your homes and steal your Bitcoin. Banks are actively weaponizing Bitcoin's volatility to crash the market, trigger liquidations, and walk away with your crypto and your house. So let's get into the video. I'm sure by now you've seen this news. Federal Housing Association, right? They're allowing you to use Bitcoin as up to 50% collateral when purchasing a home. I have massive issues with this. I have massive issues with other things, other companies, right, outside of, government and stuff like that. These companies that are taking on massive amounts of debt and expensive debt at these rates and using it to buy Bitcoin. Well, guess what? When that debt goes away or the rates increase or you can't pay it back because other things are crashing, you are now insolvent and you don't get your Bitcoin back or you're forced to sell at a loss. For this specific example, let's break down kind of how it will work. So it's relatively straightforward. I know it seems like I'm jumping through hoops to get to this conclusion, and you're like, Americano, why are you so passionate about this? But it's actually relatively straightforward. So you have worked hard to save up your Bitcoin. You bring it over here, you give it to the bank. The bank gives you the money you need to buy a house. So right now, it's kind of still your Bitcoin and it's kind of still your house, right? You still have to make payments on it, things like that, obviously. But what happens when the value of your Bitcoin, you used, let's say your home was $100,000. We're just going to use, I just struggle with math sometimes, so we use basic numbers here. But it was $100,000. And you put in half of a Bitcoin, that's all you had. You put in half of a Bitcoin to cover 50% of the cost of your home. Awesome. Okay. Well, when Bitcoin goes down to $30, okay, that 50,000 that you had just crashed 70%. So now your monthly payments on your home are going to drastically increase. And guess what? Your Bitcoin's not going to go up anytime soon. This is inevitable to happen. And guess who else is buying crypto right now like crazy? All these massive other banks. They might not be directly related with real estate lending or anything, but these other banks are also buying Bitcoin. And guess what they do? They sell, and they sell hard. And you also have people, like I mentioned earlier, selling debt to buy Bitcoin. All of this is lining up for some nasty narratives this bear market. And what does that boil down to the average person? Well, when you can't make the payments because your mortgage just increased, it can triple, double, quadruple. If your collateral goes down 70%, okay? So what does the bank do, right? They obviously have your Bitcoin as collateral, which they're happy to take because in 4 to 6 years, it's going to go back up. However, not 4 to 6, 3 to 4 years, it's going to go back up, right? So Mr. Bankman over here says, hey, buddy, you haven't been able to make payments on the home, so we are going to take that back. And by the way, your Bitcoin's worth way less, but we need, the collateral because you got liquidated, you marked it as collateral, but since you couldn't make the payments, you're not going to get the collateral back, so that goes away too. And Mr. Evil Bankman gets your house and your Bitcoin, both likely to continue to go up in value, and you are sitting here. We'll just pretend this is a little cardboard box, and now this is where you live with no Bitcoin and no home. Essentially what is going to happen, mark my words. I'm not saying there's, evil boss Bankman up here plotting to do this, but with what's going on with all of the debt, with what's going on with these other things, it's not going to end well. It's going to be a very nasty bear market with a lot of people who are going to be, the water's going to pull back and you'll be like, damn, he was swimming naked, you know what I mean, kind of situation, which it happened a little bit last bear market, but this is going to be even worse. And the banks are happy to do this because, like I said, they know it's volatile. So when your collateral goes down, your payments go up. And when your payments go up, they're happy to do that. You're going to be the only person whose payments, everybody else locks into an interest rate, right? You're essentially screwing yourself to like a variable interest rate because Bitcoin's price is so volatile. They're like, hell yeah, we're gonna get free Bitcoin and we're gonna get the house back. Fuck yeah, we'll lend that money. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but yes, we'll lend the money. Obviously, right? They are happy to do so. So like I said, it's not that they're plotting this massive market crash to do this, but it's going to be an outcome, and it's an outcome that they are most definitely okay with. This is 2008. All right, we know, everybody knows what happens here. Everybody was way over leveraged. Banks were over leveraged. People were over leveraged. Similar situation we have here. We have banks and institutions and companies way over leveraged to buy Bitcoin. Awesome. And then we have people who are way over leveraged using it as collateral. Okay? It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well here, right? It's going to end exactly like this. And then another example of this happening, everybody knows FTX, everybody loves them, right? I actually worked in FTX's risk management department. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They were essentially doing very, very similar things, right? They went and created their own FTT token. They borrowed a lot of collateral against an essentially worthless coin. And guess who had a lot of that? A lot of that coin? CZ over at Binance. So what did he do when he got wind that a rival exchange was kind of bleeding on cash and not making payments on all of this collateral that they took because their FTT token was down 70%, which I don't understand how Sam Bankman is so stupid, so smart but so stupid. How did you think your own crappy token was not going to go down 70%? Anyways, literally the example that I just showed right here with Bitcoin crashing 70%, which is definitely going to happen. Once we got to the 70% mark, he struggled to make payments. CZ caught word. He sold all of his FTT token and essentially nuked the price down to here. Now they had no way of paying the collateral back. They get exposed that they had been trading with that collateral that they borrowed against FTT tokens, user funds, everything, right? Nasty, nasty, nasty way to go out. But that is what debt will do to you, okay? I do not want it in the crypto space, and I definitely, because I'm human, a normal, rational human being, I definitely do not want it in the housing market that people rely on this stuff. People need a place to live. Like, it's pretty disgusting. But anyways, this is not going to be the bullish news, or this, it is bullish, I guess, in a sense. It's cool. It's a cool concept, but you really have to know what you're doing. Most people do not. So this, as whatever you make of the headline, right? Just know in 3 to 4 years, there's going to be some very, 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 very sad stories that come out of this. And just know the banks are going to be the only ones to win from it. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Shameless little plug here. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. I also have a free Discord, paid Discord, course, all of that. So if you guys have enjoyed my material thus far, make sure you check it out. I'm always available to help you guys in the comments, though, if you have any questions or anything like that. I started this page, I started this channel, I started this journey to help you guys out, to help avoid mistakes like I talked about in this video, to be the contrarian voice that the space desperately needs, because retail just seems to always follow the absolute wrong people, and I'm just tired of seeing it. But anyways, that's it for this one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.